Now let me introduce to you one of the most prominent global business leaders and our keynote speaker for this session, Dr. Pawan Munjal, chairman of world largest two-wheeler manufacturing firm and India's one of the biggest multinational companies, Hero Motocorp, having presence in over 40 countries around the world. So how do the business leaders move towards their global aspirations in a scenario where we see largely protectionism is being adopted, a lot of regionalism is happening, or almost deglobalization is happening? What is your message to the business leader? How do they aspire to achieve that in such a scenario?
My personal belief is this sort of attitude can only be a short-term attitude. This is not going to serve anyone in the long term. Without the collaboration going forward, no nation, no economy is going to survive on their own. No economy is a big enough market to survive. But in India, we have a huge market. Many of us have been focused on the domestic markets for a long, long time. We take our own example, but since the last 5-6 years, we have started looking out. We have started going global because we want not just the products to go out, we want the brand to go out, we want the Indian flag to go out of here. How long can we depend and survive on just one market? It's too risky. We have to spread ourselves across the globe.
How will you define the, Atmanirbhar Bharat? How will you define when the Prime Minister gave a call for Atmanirbhar Bharat? How do you define it? Do you think those companies run by Indian entrepreneurs should be called Atmanirbhar or Indian? Or you think somebody coming from outside India, setting up a manufacturing unit here, providing job, they can also be well called local companies? How will you see this?
My take of the Prime Minister's call about making the nation Atmanirbhar is to be self-reliant in every situation. Does not mean that you will not bring in anything from the outside, you will not sell anything to the outside. But in a situation where you are not able to bring in anything from the outside, you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You should be completely self-reliant. If you are not able to sell anything outside, you should have a market here. Having said that, all 3 options must be open to each one of us.
How do you see the global economy is changing in a new world order in terms of markets, in terms of consumer market, in terms of producing market like India, Vietnam and all? They were one of the biggest manufacturing hubs because of the low cost manpower. How do you see this scenario changing?
Clearly, what we are seeing in the current scenario is that some of the countries which were the focus of attention for the entire globe are now losing that focus because of some of the things that have happened over there. Over-dependence of many of the economies, many of the nations on those economies, those markets is now changing. A lot of manufacturing is moving out of there into countries, into economies which are investor friendly, which want to bring in investment, which want to bring in manufacturing, which have the markets available, which have the ease of doing business. So you mentioned Vietnam. India has a very good prospect at this time to bring in a lot more manufacturing into the country. We are ourselves a very big market, and then we can become a market, a manufacturing hub for the globe. So many countries at this time do have that possibility, and I believe India is in a very good position to take advantage of the current situation.
Looking at the global trade war that is unfolding, be it US, China or India becoming reluctant on China investment or working with China, but still we have huge import from China, be it automotive, be it pharma or many other sectors. How do you think India can make itself capable on less dependent on China?
Let me give our own example. Yes, we have been importing from China. Our import is not very large. We already, in these few months, whatever we were importing directly ourselves, we have already created backups. We have already created alternate sources. Tomorrow, if we are not in a position to import from China, we have become Atmanirbhar. We have become self-reliant. And I'm sure a lot of other companies are also doing this. So this is what I mentioned about being Atmanirbhar. Be self-reliant, be in a position that you are not totally dependent on somebody else, but then be very pragmatic. Look at all your costs, look at what serves you best, and then buy from where you think it is best to buy.
Do you think India can become a challenger to China, and how soon we can become, and which are the sector you think?
To my mind, India can definitely become a challenger, but right now, China definitely has a long lead over us. To be able to put a number on how long it will take is not the right thing to do right now. Having said that, I gave our own example. We were importing from China, but today, if there's a situation that we cannot import, then we will not have to shut down our manufacturing.
If any country wants to be self-reliant, then what would be your message in terms of key policy changes that they should bring in, like India or any other nation, be it Europe or US?
Well, of course, top of the line would be ease of doing business. Create an atmosphere where an entrepreneur can put up industry very quickly, very easily, not have issues, not have problems, not have red tape, all of that stuff. Of course, that country, that nation must have the basic infrastructure available, must have the market available. So these are the few things which are very important.
Any specific message for Indian government? Because we have to encourage R&D, but we see that the incentive that was being provided for R&D has been already taken out. So how do you see that?
I'm glad you touched upon R&D and innovation. Again, I'm personally very involved with innovation and R&D. I'm personally driving it in the company. You are right. Industry must get the relevant support from the government. Companies like ours, individuals and entrepreneurs who are very keen on innovation, the entire world comes to India for innovation. For Indian companies to be able to innovate, do their R&D and engineering, all support must come forth from the government.
Thank you so much, Mr. Munjal, for joining atETGlobal Town Hall. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.